Great morning, world! Welcome to the Rise Up with Dragon podcast with your host, Dragon!
Great morning, world. Great morning, chicken.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. We had one of the funniest things happen to us in our entire lives. Where, can I talk about that just quickly?
Of course.
So Chicken and I, great morning, everybody. Clubhouse is open at Makes Sense. We're going to have an after party there. We're streaming live to YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, all that stuff. Welcome everybody in Clubhouse. But Chicken and I, we have an international coaching company, and we're actually leading the charge for the most part in the expansion into Asia. So we have a lot of friends in Asia. It's so funny how these rise ups start sometimes. Like we just sang that song. Anyway, Chicken just gave me the universal flow for keep it going, Dragon. Thank you, sweetie, as she stuffs her face with a brownie, but it's a healthy brownie. So in any case, there was this one woman, and I know she'll never watch this because I think she's from Mars or something like that. But she would send me like these weird, we get a lot of Hello Kitty and fun emojis and stuff like that from our friends in Asia. They're very big on memes. But this one woman sent me a meme one time, and it was this woman with large breasts, and she was taking her shirt. It was like a meme, and she was just raising it up or something like that, exposing her breasts. And the song in the background was, "Good morning, good morning." So Chicken and I have a tendency of
Let's just say we were at the beginning phases of dating, and so
and she's like, "What the hell is this?
Who the hell are you seeing?"
Yeah.
Like, are you?
Anyway, so we have adapted this every now and then. We'll just look at each other, and one of us will say, "Good morning, good morning,"
and then I'll flash him.
And then she'll flash me. And also if some of our friends know that when they have their birthday, if they're lucky enough to blip up on the radar of Chicken and Dragon, we sing a mean happy birthday for people. So if it's your birthday, let us know. And if we have your cell phone number, we'll call you and do our amazing Chicken and Dragon birthday. So great morning, world. Very excited to be here today, as always. I'm gonna kind of like lay down a foundation of transparency because I know that this is coupled. Oh, and by the way, we just found out that the Rise Up with Dragon podcast is ranked in the top 5% of all podcasts, which I don't know if that's actually me exposing that it sucks or it's really good, but it's better than the top 10. It's the top 5%. And I think there's almost 3 million podcasts out there.
Crazy.
So anyway, I'm pretty pumped about that.
Calm Mind is currently number 1 on the list of all podcasts.
Yeah. Calm a Mind is listed as number 1 out of all podcasts called Calm a Mind.
I just surpassed Joe Rogan.
Calm a Mind has just surpassed Joe Rogan and others. So I just want to start off with a transparency because a lot of what I do with the Rise Up with Dragon show and podcast, which a lot of people integrate into their morning structure, which is what it was kind of created for. There's this weird vibe in personal growth and self-discovery. If you're the person that's delivering the message, very often the perception is that you don't ever have a bad time. It's like, I come to you on Mondays and Fridays and I interview people, and the perception could be that JC wakes up, Dragon wakes up every day, Julie Andrews floats through the room, cartoon birds on the fingers, and everything's great. But that's not true. As a matter of fact, the whole concept, and I just went over the model morning, that'll load to the Rise Up with Dragon podcast today on iTunes. And by the way, thank you so much for all the ratings and the reviews that are coming in, subscribers, downloads, all that stuff is blowing up. That makes me feel good because it's getting out there. But today I woke up, and when I went from unconscious to conscious, in that little real estate that I speak about, I wasn't feeling it. We don't really know. Chicken felt the same way. And we were in a little bit of what we call Funky Town. So I kind of woke up in Funky Town. And in Funky Town, I've already moved past it. It's behind me. But if I was to go back, because I'm not afraid to go back to it, there was a little bit of like unexplained anxiety. There was a little bit of some feelings that I'm not really excited about, and feelings that don't support what it is that I need and want to, facilitate and leverage my goals today. So anyway, I just want to be transparent and say that that's the way I woke up. And so I initiated my process and my morning routine, which is what it really is for. It's for the good days and the bad days. It worked, but it did not work with perfection, meaning I almost still feel some of those feelings, But my point is this. I started to question myself. Curiosity is a really, really wonderful place to be. I'm curious as to whether or not a lot of this stuff that we, discuss and ponder and perceive in the world, I'm curious to know if it's even real. So from that curious standpoint, I ask questions that help me get through things like anxiety, depression, confusion, and things like that. And this was a question that I asked myself this morning. I said, Dragon, let me ask you a question. I talked to myself. Are feelings connected to reality? To what degree are your feelings connected to reality? And it's an interesting question to ask yourself or somebody that is having a rough time, because I'm all about checking the facts. And there's a lot of stuff out there that is not factual, meaning you can't prove it. You could be committed to it and, like really, really feel passionate about an idea. But if you can't prove it, you get to this place where you go, I don't know. I'm not sure if feelings are connected to reality, meaning I'm not sure if I feel something, if I'm scared, am I really scared or am I just feeling that way? So I just want to offer that to you because my backstory, I lost 80 pounds and I recovered my health, and that's where I started this transformation coaching business and stuff. But another thing from my past that a lot of people can resonate with is I dramatically, to a massive, massive level, suffered from anxiety. And I broke through that anxiety, or I should say I created a new system of changing the way I look at it and managing it. And here I am today, implementing a system that involves me going live and speaking on a regular basis. And guess what my trigger was for anxiety? Public speaking. So I just want to share that I actually in real time went through it this morning, and I'm speaking through it right now, and it's a form of therapy. So if you struggle and you're having feelings of confusion, anxiety, fear, concern, and all that stuff, first of all, it's pretty normal. And I just would start to get curious and ask yourself questions about, is that really what's happening? Am I actually experiencing that, or am I just feeling that way? Because, this wet piece of meat in our brain is pretty out of control sometimes. The other thing that I want to talk about today is chicken in our Rise Up. Because remember, on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, Chicken and I at 10 a.m. Eastern in Clubhouse. Find us at Make Sense. Follow the Make Sense Club. We do our Rise Up with Chicken and Dragon. And what that means is we share some insights with each other in the morning, and then we share them as it pertains to relationships and things like that. So Chicken shared something this morning that just, before I even get into my Rise Up today, it was just so awesome. It was a guy, Dr. Dan Siegel. Dan Siegel,
he speaks about the triangle.
He's at UCLA. He's a professor, psychologist, or psychiatrist.
He's a medical doctor, but yeah, he speaks about the triangle of well-being, which is the mind, the brain, and the relationships, and how they're interconnected.
The triangle of well-being and mindsight. He talks about. Yeah. Anyway, you can look him up. I've decided I'm going to try to get him on the show because this guy is coming on the show. And Donald Hoffman, and he is just another, mind freak. But anyway, this guy was talking about something that I want to share with you just quickly. It'll arm you today, just with this curious compassion for others and also yourself. He spoke about response flexibility. Yeah. And I wrote that down here and then the question I asked myself was, how flexible versus concrete are your responses to things today? That is very, very powerful. Think about that for a second. When something happens today that's out of your control, right? That's how we have to delineate, is it in my control or out of my control? Our response to it is the only thing that's in our control. And if your response is out of control, it's typically because you're allowing yesterday's program to dictate your response today. Therefore, it would be a concrete response. Whenever this happens, I respond this way. But what he's talking about is this idea that we can move in a neuroplastic fashion. There's neuroplasticity is this new science of rewiring the brain, creating new circuits and opening up new ideas of what, our response system will dictate. But think about that today. Are you concrete in how you're going to respond to things, or are you flexible? And then the other thing that Dan Siegel said is he studies relationships. And this is what really, really got me excited about what you and I do with our Rise Ups and how we do on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, our Rise Up with Chicken and Dragon. It's all about relationships. He actually shows that by building relationships, working on relationships between one another, in our relationship, but also with friends, it actually now is being shown to promote neuroplasticity. So what we're learning is that being in a good relationship is not just a cool thing that's chill and fun and better. It actually is helping us. And Chicken, in her studies in mental health, she's making a correlation that people that have mental health issues, right, maybe this building of a relationship is something that will serve them as well, correct?
Yeah, well, that's why I don't want to get too deep into this, but this is why when somebody struggles with mental illness, there's a greater chance of success when their family is involved.
When their support structure, yeah.
Their support structure.
Or if they have someone that accepts and loves them.
Yeah, but you have to understand that somebody has to really fundamentally grasp what their mental illness is.
Exactly. But either way, it's interesting. And what the Rise Up with Dragon show is about is bringing things up that we might not be able to prove, but I just think that there's this place where humans have the opportunity to become open to ideas rather than concrete. Back to what he was saying, flexibility, response flexibility. I'm going to carry that with me today. And one of my goals for the day, and I'm going to encourage you to do this as well, is to really, really work to be flexible in my response to things. Maybe I'll pause, maybe I'll think about something before I react. And that's kind of what we always talk about. So great morning, world. Welcome to the Rise Up with Dragon podcast / show. I'm Dragon, the host. As always, Chicken is here, and we do have two sponsors of this episode today, and I will let Chicken dictate who they are. They are Karma Mind and John the Baker. So for the podcast, let's have it.
Well, we would just like to thank our sponsors, Karma Mind, which is a guided meditation podcast rooted in Buddha's beautiful teachings. Mm-hmm. And it is meditation with a twist. Karma Mind teaches people that meditation is for everyone, and that you don't have to be a Buddha in order to meditate.
Found on iTunes.
Android. It is, courses are coming out.
Courses are coming out for Karma Mind, helping people bypass the analytical mind and claim control over the decisions and their response flexibility.
And also Dan Siegel talks a lot about mindfulness practice.
Nice.
And the importance of changing the brain through mindfulness.
And then we have a new sponsor today.
We have a new sponsor, and I don't know if he's watching, but this episode is also sponsored by John the Baker.
John the Baker from South Africa. Tell us about John.
5 years of baking experience. John the Baker is a master sourdough bread baker, and he also has some courses coming out soon. So, Dad, we love you. He's the most incredible and talented baker on earth, and so shout out to him.
It's funny, we always talk about, we're always curious and interested in the whole algorithm thing on social media. You could put like a quote and a solution to a problem that could change the world forever and get like 3 likes. But when John the Baker puts a piece of sourdough bread cut with a piece of butter on it, it goes viral.
And his tagline is like "Happy Friday."
And it just says "Happy Friday." Here's some sourdough bread.
Yeah,
So,
but something that I just wanted to mention is he has a really, really cool project going on right now called crossroadsbreadproject.co.za, which is a really, really awesome charity that he's helped establish. So what he does is he teaches people how to bake bread so that they have that extra skill.
I love it.
To feed their families.
You know, what's interesting about bread, and for all of our, thousands of clients that are looking to improve their health, there is value in bread. There's no nutritional value, and it's not good for you if you're trying to get healthy. However, the value in the bread is historically, when our world has struggled the most, bread is a means of getting food in you. Like during revolutions, one of my favorite all-time desserts that's naughty, but I still love it, is bread pudding. And it comes from the revolution times where there was nothing but stale bread, and then they would repurpose it. So great morning, everybody. As always, we're streaming live everywhere. We also have the Clubhouse room open for Mind Fuel, Rise Up with Dragon. You can, if you want to join us for the after party, I'm going to do a quick Rise Up now called Gunna Butt. You're going to love it. And then we're going to go in there and see if anybody wants to unload some of their thoughts and distinctions and questions for the after party to the top of the hour. As always, please, consider subscribing and sharing, pushing the share button of this video if you're on social media, subscribing to the Rise Up with Dragon podcast, leave us a rating, leave us a review. It helps people think that we're cool. And we hope that you like it. So here's where the Rise Up starts today. I've spoken about this before, but I think it's relevant right now because I think that human beings are all once again recognizing that we all have common goals, but there's this distinction between two people that have the same opportunities and same path ahead, but one of them succeeds and one doesn't. So today's Rise Up is called Gunna Butt. And here's where it starts. So first, in perception of all human beings, you and I, right, we see that we, right, but all of us all want the same things. So categorically, we're all seekers of the I call us all seekers of the You might be in a different season right now where your motivation is up and down, or your belief system, but I know what you want. You're a seeker of the What that means is that you and I, we both want to be happier, healthier, and wealthier, right? So that's an open, challenge that I give all of you, right? Does anyone listening right now want to have less happiness, less health, and less wealth? You might come up with some sort of clever way. I love when I ask questions like that on my social media, and some smart dude always challenges but what about this, But you get the logic behind it. We all want more. We all want the right? So our wants are all in line, but what about our haves? This is where human beings start to kind of get separate from one another. So our haves. How is it that we all want the same things, yet, as I say, 2 men enter, 1 man leads, right? Why do 2 people enter and 1 person succeeds and the other one doesn't when their climate, their situations are different? Now, we all have been taught that it's a competency thing, right? Meaning, children today, if they fail at something, they just are encouraged to try something else. When I was brought up, and generations before, we used to say, if you don't succeed, try and try again. So that's one issue. But what is it about 2 people that have the same situation? Is one better than the other? So, and what I mean by that is 2 people want the same thing and only one gets it. How is that possible? Is this all just related to hard work and the whole consistency thing? So yes, to some extent, but then I ask, what triggers and evokes the hard work and consistency? Think about that for a second. You could be looking and saying, I have the same opportunity as someone else, and you could have a belief system problem, or you think it's a timing issue, but you also might be looking and saying, I know that I'm not putting the work in, and they are. Of course they have it. That's a good place to be, because then you recognize that you can do it. But what is it that evokes the hard work and consistency? There might be something to that, right? So I'm building into the gonna butt here. So in observation, I'm fascinated by observing success stories. I've read every book on it. I've experienced failure and success myself. And I'm just so fascinated, because I just believe that it's a code that we all want to crack. We all want to crack this code of, how can I get in onto the top of the mountain, right? So in observation of successful and unsuccessful people, I see one definitive clue, or actually a couple definitive clues and differences. First of all, successful people, meaning those that move from what they want to having it, right? They leave their butts out of the question. And that's the introduction to today's Rise Up. They leave their butts out of the equation. When they speak of their intentions to acquire their desired goal or state, they all say that it's going to happen. But then there's those, and these are the people that don't end up having to have, then there's those that say it's going to happen, but ... So those people we refer to as gonna butts. So my question is, are you a gonna butt? Right? Hashtag gonna butt. If anybody takes a screenshot of this video or the Clubhouse or whatever, even if you're watching it, and you go to my Instagram at Rise Up with Dragon, post a picture, hashtag it, tag me on it, hashtag it gonna butts, and I'll share it to my story. Meaning, are you that version of yourself at this time, right? So you don't have to label yourself and identify yourself as a gonna butt, but are you that person, that version of yourself at this time that wants and will do the work, but can't unless or because, right? Unless means, if this was the situation, then I would, right? That's a but. And then the other one is, I can't, I'm gonna, but, and then we'll justify it. Those are drama triangle things. We'll justify it by saying because. Isn't that interesting, when we say that we want something and then we justify why we're not going to have it right now, right? So that person that says, if this, then that, I would, but I can't, those people, right? That version of you that says you're gonna butt. That's what a gonna butt is. So followed by a justification of how your current circumstances are not allowing you to follow your dreams. Isn't that funny? Can anybody justify that your circumstances are such that they're not allowing you to follow your dreams, right? When all we know about circumstances and obstacles is that they're there to be overcome to follow your dreams. But there's certain people, gonna butts, that look at circumstances differently. They say, because of that, I can't. I'm gonna if this clears up, right? So do you find yourself repeating these words? Now's not a good time, right? Now, I've done that most of my life, right? That's why I'm not recording this from a G6 right now, right? I've done that most of my life. Now's not a good time. Now's not a good time to go after your dreams when they are offered to you on a silver plate. Isn't that interesting how people offer you your dreams, everything, physical, all the healthier, happier, wealthier. They offer it to you on a silver plate, and they're there to say, here's how to do it. I've seen it happen. I've done it. Thousands of others have done it, and you can do. And then we say, listen, now's not a good time. I appreciate it, but now's not a good time. And we justify our position for not moving forward. Those are gonna butts, right? So what I always say to those people when they say now's not a good time is I'll pick up my phone, right? Which I can't because I have it logged into Clubhouse right now, but I'll say, excuse me, God, yes, I have Chicken here, and she says that now's not a good time to fulfill her dreams. My question to you is, how much time does she have left to do this? And tomorrow, does she have a new day tomorrow? And then God's answer is always, I'm not telling, it's a secret. So there's that mortality mentality. So what I'm hoping to unveil for you right there is, how silly is it to say something? And I know why we do it. It makes sense. It's because we wake up like I woke up today, and we don't go after life. We recoil from it, right? So that's an unflexible response system. That's why we do that stuff. But, we need to do something about that, don't we? So in further observation, I see two distinctions and symptoms of those that press through. So now let's look at those people that press through, and do the hard work and the hard work, right? And then they win the prize. They have, they get the get. One of those things that I observe of the successful people is they describe the prize with clear and amplified value. There's a different way. When you hear somebody describe what it is that they're working towards, you can tell that some people put way more descriptives in it and timestamps on them, and also value. They've connecting it to everything. Here's why I want it. Here's what it's going to be like. Just like the kid that wants a red shiny bike, meaning they have placed a much bigger value on the prize and how it will improve and impact their lives. So an example that I always like to give, which is a little bit of a creepy one, is the idea of looking at the goal of breathing if your head is pushed underwater. Think about if your goal today was that valuable, you wouldn't let your butt get in the way in that situation. So there's one thing that I see in successful people is they have a lot of value and a lot of descriptives on their goal. Two people, same idea. One of them's just looking at their goal. And then two, this is a big one, and this is why children dream big and then they're taught later not to. But two, successful people, they don't know that they can't achieve something. They don't buy into this idea that was delivered outside in by their programmers, their mother, father, teacher, preacher. They don't buy into this idea that they can't do something. They don't care about statistics or what others say, right? I put up a quote today that said, today, I'm not going to accept suggestions, I'm going to make decisions. So that's an interesting way of looking at it as well. They have decided to get there no matter what. So those are the two things that I observe. So humans, listen up. So just pay attention to this right now. Those gonna butt thoughts are totally normal, right? As a matter of fact, I would say that we always start with that. I began my day with some gonna butts, right? I said, yeah, I'm gonna do the rise up today, but right, I started to come up with these solutions of how maybe I'll do a recording and put it up because I wasn't feeling it and stuff like that. So I experienced it, I felt it, and it's real and it's tough, right? And it's hard, but that's why we have structure and that's why we do things. That's why if you're listening to this right now and you're listening to my podcast and it's part of your structure that you do on Mondays and Fridays, no matter what, right? You're going to find your way to the other side of the pile of shit that's in front of you, right? So listen up. Those gun-a-butt thoughts are totally normal and we all get them, but they are lies and a form of challenge. They're coming to you in the form of challenge from the universe to test your strength. I want you to look at those thoughts as obstacles and challenges, right? That are coming to you from the universe, and they're actually for you, not happening to you. They're there to test your strength. That's why we say things like, God only prunes the branches that he wants to see grow, right? They're there to test your strength, your conviction, and desire to acquire the juice. So what do I mean by the juice? As someone that has pressed through all of the bullshit, and I did it again today, and I'll do it again tomorrow. I'll do it this afternoon. And if in an hour after this rise up, more bullshit comes, I'm going to press through it in search of the juice. So as somebody that's pressed through all the bullshit and found my way to the other side of the bullshit to collect the haves that I desire, because I have a lot of haves now, right? The juice is worth the squeeze, right? So think about the squeeze, right? Are you willing to go through the squeeze to get the juice? Well, go back to one of those success principles. Is the goal that you've set today or the state that you desire, your desired state, is it important enough to you, that juice, that you're willing to do the squeeze? What are you doing? Are you shaking your phone to go back to the old thing? Yeah. What a funny concept. I noticed another thing about phones. So I always think it's funny when you make a mistake, all you have to do is it's like a shaking baby syndrome. You just in a violent way, you just go like that, right? And I just think that iPhone is pretty funny that they do that. Have you noticed that there's a new thing on iPhone trick alert? If you take the back of your iPhone and tap it twice, you can take a screenshot. Try it right now, chicken. Just tap the middle of it twice. Did it work?
Liar, liar.
I'm telling you, it works. I'll do it right now. I'll see the Clubhouse people. Yep, it worked.
Weird.
So maybe you don't have it set up. But what's interesting is every time I put my phone down or I just like instinctively tap it, I have like screenshots of everything. So if you ever want to like really search what I'm doing on my phone, sweetie, just look at my pictures because all the screenshots are there. So anyway, the juice is worth the squeeze. So in fact, I say, this is my perception, which is, I'm open to realize that it's not true. In fact, I say that the universe deals you that poor hand of cards, right? When you're closest to swinging the pickaxe. So this is another way of reorganizing the way you look at challenges, right? And hitting the desired state. Or swinging the pickaxe to reach the diamonds. You know, we always stop before that last swing that was going to hit the diamonds. And what I'm saying is that the universe has a tendency of challenging you the most as you're closest. So what does that mean? If you're experiencing thoughts of doubt and fear and anxiety and depression and challenges and the things that trigger you to say now's not a good time, I want you to just entertain and become open, become flexible with the response to those feelings and just say something like, hey, from what I understand, this is probably an indication that not only am I on course to get what I want, but I'm closer than I think, right? So feel that fear, recognize it as a sign that you are on your way. Get excited and go again that day and again after, you learn that secret. This is what I'm talking about. Here's another thing about successful people. They don't fight fear. They don't look at fear and fight it. They don't raise a fist and fight fear, right? What they do is they befriend fear, right? If you understand the principle that I'm talking about right now, fear is one of the major ingredients to bake this cake that you want. So when fear rears its head, what I'm encouraging you to do is get excited about it. Fear is actually happening for you. It is showing up and it is in support of you achieving your goals. So they don't fight fear, they befriend fear and adversity. If the monster's in the closet, open the door and go have a cocktail with it. It could be a mocktail too for some of you. So it's their friend and a directional interface. Think about what that means. It's a directional interface that guides them to the promised land. So when I see something or I feel something, remember I said in the beginning, are my feelings really connected? To what degree are my feelings connected to reality? Well, what I'm telling you right now is they actually are very much connected, but not as I previously thought. When I'm feeling something, it could be God's way of pushing the truth out of me, or it could be the universe showing me that I'm damn close to getting what I want. So now's not the time to take a day off. It's time to take a day on. Hashtag take a day on. So let's leave our butts out of the journey, right? Let's leave our butts out of this journey. It's funny to look at where God has placed the butt, sweetie.
Yeah.
Behind us, right? So our butts are behind us for a reason. And then lastly, this is a good one. Lastly, there's also a saying that you can do it, put your back into it. There's a song, you can do it, put your back into it, right? What that's saying is that the butt has something like, to do with our success. So the effort, take this is a dragon idea, right? And dragon suggestion. The effort can't be done with half your ass. It's going to require all of your ass. You can't do things half-assed. So you can't take that butt that's helping you do it, right? You're not going to let it get in the way anymore, but you're going to put your butt into it, right? It's behind you. Use all of it. So if you're afraid and confused with the how, open your eyes and accept the hand that has been offered to you right now for guidance. I promise you, somebody has offered you the path to freedom. Somebody has offered you physical, mental, and financial well-being. It could show up from somebody. It could show up in opportunities. You could have read something, right? Something or someone is putting a hand out for you. So go with it. Right? Go with it and go into the unknown. It could be a coach. That's what Chicken and I do, and make sure that the person that, or wherever you're receiving that information from, make sure that it's coming from somebody that has the have. that you desire. So that's all I have today. Thank you so much. I got to be honest with you, I was struggling this morning, and if I'm transparent about it, I was struggling a bit into my rise up, but I went and I had that faith, right? And what I've just done now, I'm in this position right now. I'm not perfect, but what I'm in a position to do right now is to be more flexible with my responses today, which is so important because some shit's going to happen today and it's not going to throw me off because I'm flexible. This morning I was concrete. So great morning, everybody. Hope this fell upon your mind and your heart today and it was useful. I love when I hear people say things like, I needed this today. This was speaking to me. If you learn something today, you got to give it away. Push the share button, share this with somebody else, turn somebody on to the podcast. If you learn something, you have to give it away. That's how it's going to stay. If you want to keep something, you have to give it away. So that's my rise up today. I love and appreciate you all. We're going to go out with our little outro designed by the Dragon. And I love you, Chicken.
Love you, Dragon.
I'm excited for our Rise Up with Chicken and Dragon tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. And remember, for those of you watching live, today at noon Eastern, I'm going to be in Clubhouse with the amazing Tamsin Astor talking about the idea that habits create our life. Love and appreciate you all. Have an amazing day.